Hello, race fans. Welcome back to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Here tonight, we have the ARCA Evolution Series as they take on race number 2 of the round of 16 of their 2021 playoffs here at the Iowa Speedway for, man, we'll tell you what, some great short track, high speed racing also. So it's going to be fun to watch these battles all night. So make sure you stay tuned in here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Let's give a special shout out to the partners here at the Evolution Racing League and Freaky Fast Broadcasting as they help make all this here happen. First up, we have Nissan Central, the leading Nissan dealership in Oklahoma City. You can go check them out at their website, www.ornissancentral.com. Next, we have Sheffield Graphics, the leading designer in sim racing paint schemes and liveries. It was founded by a Navy veteran, and a portion of every paint goes to the Military Foundation Folds of Honor. It's a great non-profit organization who gives sponsorship to the families of fallen soldiers and disabled veterans. Make sure to go check them out on Facebook under Sheffield Graphics and tell them Freaky Fast sent you there. Next, we have ButtKicker. Every game deserves a truly immersive experience. The ButtKicker Gamer 2 lets you feel every detail, from the subtle footsteps to the rumble of a V10 powered race car. By moving a physical mask instead of only air, the Gamer 2 provides instant, accurate, powerful pace response, and it's all perfectly synced with every game with no additional software required. So make sure you go to ButtKicker.com and you can check out their ButtKicker Gamer 2 or all their other wonderful products there at ButtKicker.com and use the promo code FreakyFast20 to get 20% off of any purchase there at ButtKicker.com. And thank you to the proud partners here at the Evolution Racing Leagues and Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But let's get into the racing action we have here tonight. Race number 2 here in the playoffs at the Iowa Speedway. I'm Zach Hall. Joining alongside me will be my colleague Brandon Colley. And we'll have Robert Moyer Jr., our producer, up in the production box running our wonderful cameras here tonight. Brandon, a lot of stuff on stake here tonight with Daytona or another super speedway looming. It's going to be definitely important tonight for this race.
Yeah, everybody's mindset going into tonight, Zach. If you're not already locked in, you're trying to get a really decent finish. You'd like to win, but at the end of the day, try to set yourself up to walk into Daytona on easy street, not have to worry about having a bad finish there. If you come out of Iowa and you have to have a decent finish at Daytona, you may not be making the playoffs or advancing any further in the playoffs, that is. So tonight definitely going to be important for a good number of drivers just to kind of set their place in the standings and get a good idea of how well they have to perform next week.
Tough track here too, man. Iowa, not the easiest tracks. It's a short track with a somewhat of a bigger speedway feel, I would say, Brandon. You know, it's definitely got some similarities to Richmond, but very bumpy, and the lines is what I'm watching tonight. You can run different lines here, and we'll have to see which driver manufactures the best.
Yeah, and it's something that, you know, if I've turned some laps here, and if somebody if I'd never known that it was only a 0.88 mile course, I would never have been able to tell you that this was a short track. There's a lot of banking and a lot of speed here, and it drives like 1.5 miles. And talk about the lanes, my experience here is turns 1 and 2 pretty straightforward every race that I've seen or been a part of at this track, but 3 and 4 it's changing constantly. Sometimes it seems like that outside lane right up against the wall is where you want to be. Other races it seems like right against the apron is where you want to be. That's where the speed's going to be, and these guys, they're searching around in practice trying to figure out where the best line is, and we're going to have to see who finds, you know, maybe a little bit of room to breathe where everybody else isn't wanting to run during the race, and if it finds them some speed.
Well, these drivers are going to be looking for speed because remember, we have 16 drivers competing for 12 spots here in the playoffs tonight here at the Iowa Speedway. And then remember, we head off to the Daytona Oval next week. And like we said, that's the biggest wild card of them all. So you definitely want to have a great points night here to put yourself in position there. No stage racing here in the ARCA Series, unlike the RSR Cup Series. So it's going to come down just to that finish here tonight, Brandon. 80 laps, 2 sets of tires in the pits, a 50% fuel load. We got a lot of different strategies that could play out right now. These drivers looking to lock themselves in. The only man locked into next week or into the next round is Justin Malarkey. So it'll be interesting to see who can really push themselves in. And the guys looking on the outside, we got 4 guys really trying to do their best here tonight to get out of that cup.
Well, talking about the fuel load and the tires, one extra set compared to what we normally see for the ARCA series, and that opens up the strategy quite a lot with the 50% fuel load. And it being a short track, that's a bit deceiving because on a full fuel load, you can go quite far at a short track. And I imagine they're still only going to have to make one pit stop, but I think it's going to be about 15 laps short of the end of the race if my math is correct. Could be completely off on that, but that's what I'm estimating. But because of the extra sets of tires, you're going to be able to shake up your strategy quite a bit. You're not going to have to wait out that fuel load and maybe gain some track position when other guys decide that they're not going to take tires on a pit stop, and you can come out on a fresh set.
Yeah, just thinking back from past races here, done here, it's definitely I'm thinking around 50 to 55 laps here with the 50% fuel load. Right around 100 laps is that range here. So we should be seeing these guys able to make the one stop for sure happen. But if we get some cautions in there, that's going to make where you take your tires the most important part, because two sets, in the pits, that right there gives you some options. It's only one stop race, so you only need one set of tires technically for that one stop. So then you have that one extra set. When do you use it? Do you save your other one? I mean, there's a lot of possibilities that we see here, especially in this league. These guys really work the strategy, and when the playoffs come down to it, this is the perfect time to get the strategy right.
Well, and ideally, because you only have to have the one set and you can make it over halfway, I think you want to split this race in half. Take your first set right at the halfway point. If there's a caution, maybe just short of that halfway marker, maybe a little bit afterward, but right around halfway is when you want to make your first pit stop, if at all possible. Some guys obviously might try to run the race in reverse and pit uh, right when they know at the earliest point that they can make it to the end on fuel. And again, back to the strategy. It's going to be the name of the game tonight, especially Iowa. Choose up the tires. So plan that tire strategy right. If you can have the fresher set at the end, it's definitely going to pay off. But it's a matter of what track position you come out on with those fresh sets and how many laps are left.
Well, looking at this here, we're only 2 minutes into this qualifying session, and look at the times that have already been laid down by the top drivers. The top four separated by less than a tenth of a second around this short track here, as Anthony Gaudio, right now the only man to break that 24-second barrier and jump down into them 23s. He's looking very strong tonight. He's also put a 23 down in practice. Man, he's a driver that won a lot of races in the regular season. He's going to be the one looking to possibly lock himself in here tonight, Iowa, early.
Well, it's no surprise, really. Another one of our the favorites in the series that's just been consistently running up the front. We talked a number of weeks ago about the streak he was on. I believe it was 6 or 7 races in a row, finishing consecutively in the top 3. Now putting that 3 on top of the board at the moment. But Justin Malarkey showing a good bit of speed, and then Chris Merroll, another one of our favorites, and really for the overall championship in the 3rd position. The big surprise, though, is the 15 to David Edwards, 9th place on the board right now. Going to have some positions to make up during the race, and we know he doesn't normally qualify that spectacularly, and we normally see him charge from the back to the front by the end of the races. But I think to win the championship, that's going to have to be something that David Edwards is going to have to remedy and start getting better qualifying positions.
With these shorter races, I think qualifying is definitely the key. We have got longer races this season than the past for this ARCA Evolution series. But now, still, qualifying, we see it very, very important. If you have to work your way up, some of these races go very much clean and green, and you just lose valuable time by not starting up front. So, yeah, David Edwards going to have to definitely clean that up. I agree, Brandon. But I tell you what, 33 points only separating these 15 drivers who are not locked in. This playoffs here with these next 2 races very easily could be turned upside down.
It really could. We need, some guys are going to be showing more speed. We talked about Brian Fine, Justin Hendry as well. We hadn't mentioned his qualifying result, 5th place on the board. 2 guys that we've talked about that have been consistently getting faster and faster each and every week, and now they're front runners that we're talking about contending for the wins. Uh, it's only a matter of time, I think, until one of those 2 guys breaks into victory lane and potentially going to be a spoiler, or they could make it to the final round. And if they can peak at the right time, find the speed at the right time when it matters most, right at the tail end of these playoffs, they could come away champion.
Got to hit your stride at the right point of the season. We'll see which driver can do that. But here we go. We got about less than 20 seconds to go here in qualifying. No cars on the racetrack, so that'll pretty much be our qualifying order here tonight. So Anthony Gaudio going to be your Sheffield Graphics pole winner here tonight at the Iowa Speedway for the ARCA Evolution Series. And there it is. Qualifying has concluded, and like I said, Anthony Gaudio will win that pole. But we'll go ahead and bring up your starting grid here tonight to show where your favorite drivers are starting. And you can see there on the front row will be Anthony Gaudio. Alongside him will be last week's winner and the man locked into next round, Justin Malarkey. Third is going to be Christopher Smoreau. Fourth is going to go to Stephen Carey. Fifth is going to be Justin Hendry. Sixth, Brian Fine. Seventh is going to be Harold Rothery. Eighth, Matt Upbrook. Ninth is David Edwards. And rounding out your top 10 is Stephen Racing.
Jake O'Shea in the 77, starting in 11th position. Richard Gonzalez, 12th. Steve Potter in the 94, 13th. Jeff Carson, 14th. James Wright, 15th. And Robert Fitzpatrick Sr. going to be rounding out your field in the 16th position.
And that's your starting grid here tonight for the ARCA Evolution Series. Your Sheffield Graphics pole winner is Anthony Gaudio, looking to lock himself into the next round with a possible win here tonight from JCR Racing. Let's go ahead and bring that man down and get it talking here with our man, Brandon Colley.
Hey, Anthony, it's Brandon up in the booth. Got a copy?
Hey, yes, sir.
Well, Anthony, congratulations on getting the Sheffield Graphics Pole Award here at Iowa. And talked about how stressful Daytona is going to be next week. You've got a really good chance to lock yourself in here before we get to the Super Speedway for the end of this round of the playoffs. How good are you feeling about getting that done tonight?
Yeah, this is one of the toughest tracks on the circuit, hands down. It's all skill involved here. It takes one little mistake and that's it. You're done. So, keeping the tires alive. I'm going to try my best. People are going to pass him. Honestly, I might just be passive tonight, let them go by, and hopefully I can reel them back in with some, fresher tires towards the end.
We talk about driver mistakes and saw quite a lot of guys struggling in practice keeping the car underneath them. What is the balance like for you guys out there? It looks like guys maybe a little bit loose off the corners there, maybe just under throttle.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys witnessed my qualifying run, I about wrecked it on my first lap. It is very loose in the beginning of the stage, with fresh tires. Just got to be very sensitive on the throttle and keeping it in the race line. There seems to be two lines here, so you just got to be smart about them.
Well, Anthony, thanks for talking with us. Let you get back down there, get ready to start this thing, and wish you the best of luck. Hopefully you can keep that thing clean, keep it up front, and we'll talk to you at the end.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, that was your Sheffield Graphics pole winner there, Anthony Gaudio. As we round down into turn 3 here at the pace lap, we should be going green this time by here at the Iowa Speedway for race number 2 of the round of 16. Sorry, no, that's right. We'll do another lap because this is a short track, and so we got another lap to talk. Brandon, what do you think is going to be the most important part? I mean, you heard Gaudio there. He sounded very confident, but he talked about how slick it is on this early going. How careful are these drivers going to need to be?
I think especially, it being a night race here, track temp's pretty cool. It's going to take a little while for the tires to really get up to temp here. You don't want to push it too early. Just ride around a couple laps. Try not to be too aggressive, put yourself into trouble. Let the tires come up to temp, then see what you got. And otherwise, I mean, if you're especially somebody like David Edwards a little bit back in the field here, you don't want to get caught up in something super early in the race and potentially put yourself in a really bad spot again going into Daytona.
What kind of position can you put yourself in? We'll have to see as they round into turn 3 here to bring us to the green flag. That 3, Anthony Gaudio, looking great in that gold number 3. Been dominant this season at points. Let's see what he can do tonight as he's looking for the green flag. There it is, green flag in the air. We are off and away for tonight's Iowa 80 here for the ARCA Evolution Series. Gaudio down into 1. Dead side by side with Malarkey. Malarkey working the high line very well. It's going to be a dead heat down the back straightaway.
And that outside line there can work pretty well in turn 1, but there are some 1 and 2, but there are some bumps you got to navigate, and you have to know where they are. And if you hit them wrong, really gonna upset the balance. But Malarkey able to roll through pretty well. Now through 3 and 4, able to take the lead with that high side advantage over Gaudio. Saw Gaudio, he talked about being passive here, not pushing too hard, just holding his line at the moment. The 2 guys behind slowly reeling him in.
Oh, and here comes Stephen Carey with a big move. And look at some roll, almost some contact there between the 83 and the 14. Here comes the 83 to the inside of that 73 up front. Definitely seeing some guys push harder, some guys stay back. It's going to be one of those races, but our man Locked In is our leader. I'm not surprised by that outside line also taking off there, Brandon. We heard him talk about how loose it was. When you're up on that outer line, less wheel, so a little bit less prone to that loose condition.
Yeah, especially if it's loose, that's really where you want to be, where you're going to be able to find the speed. But as the run goes on, because you can carry a bit more speed out there, guys tend to overdrive it a good bit. Car will snug up quite a bit. You start migrating back toward that bottom lane as the car tightens up. And we'll have to see if it falls off for Justin Malarkey. But right now, getting passed by Stephen Carey for the lead. And that's, Stephen Carey, he's a guy that we've seen up at the front and have a lot of pace. Hasn't been able to put the full race together and come away with the wins and the great finishes so far. But off to a good start here at Iowa after 4 laps.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can break into the win column, man. He's a guy who's got 9 top 5s on this season. I mean, it's kind of either been a race where he hits into the top 5 or a race where he just has a mistake or something takes him out of the running. So it'll be good to see if he can keep himself up front here tonight. He's going to need to, as he entered here tonight in that 10th position in the points and only 4 points to the cut line. He needs a great run in that 83.
Well, putting down fast lap after fast lap, I believe that's 2 laps in a row now where he set the fastest lap of the race. The last time by with a 24:13. So he's looking to stretch a bit of a gap here before the tires really start to fall off. But Anthony Gaudio now seems to have found his footing, charged back up to the 2nd position. And it looks like slowly starting to reel in the 83.
Well, I'll tell you what, we think about how much this is affecting the playoffs, but, there's a lot of playoff racing going on. But we've also got a lot of team racing going on. Just looking at the team standings with Donkey Punch leading the team standings over MR73 racing and over JCR racing. And even all the way back to F5, I mean, even back to the HX racing, it's close. I mean, it's almost 100 points separating all 6 teams here.
Yeah, and that just goes to show that how much more every position really matters. Guys are thinking about the overall Drivers' Championship. That's the big one that you want to win. But as a team, even the slowest guy on your team is thinking, man, the more positions I can get, the more points that I get for the team overall. It's a huge group effort, and everybody has to perform for it. So every position matters even more. Even if you're out of the chance to win this race, sticking around and getting that 10th place over 11th, going to net you some more points toward the team standings. And when they're this close, they all matter.
Looking throughout this field, lots of single file racing, but it's a lot of guys looking to pass. It's a tough track to pass with multiple grooves producing speed. You can get side by side with someone, and it makes it very tough when they get into a lane that's very similar speed as you to be able to hold you off. But I'd say it gives you options though also, and that's what I love as a driver.
It reminds me a good bit of, again, the comparison with Richmond is sometimes you can defend really well on the outside, but if a guy figures out how to roll the inside pretty well, he's going to be able to make those passes. But right now in the run, talking about the balance of the car, how difficult it is to get off the corners, you have to be really gentle on the throttle. With the amount of wheel you're having into it on the inside, guys are not able to really get back to the throttle as much as they need to complete those passes on the exit of the corner, and the high side's kind of prevailing right now because of it.
We're right on board with Justin Hendry right now, and he's sitting in that 7th position, running the middle group through here in 1 and 2. We'll see what his line of choice is down here in 3 and 4 in the 20 machine. As the guys are down here to the 3rd corner. Looks like he runs right on that white seam, puts the right tires there, drops down throughout the corner, but look at that. Ahead of him, there goes David Edwards with the great pass to the bottom.
It looked like David Edwards and Hendry had been battling side by side for the last handful of laps, and Edwards showing a lot of patience there, just sticking with that bottom lane, not trying to ever really get too much while he's trying to make that pass, and it paid off now. And also watching Hendry's lane, or his line choice, it seems like, especially going into turn 3, he's driving it in a little bit hard and kind of riding on the brakes to get it to slow down and then turn back down the track. It seems like it cost him just a little bit of time there on that battle with Edwards, and see if that's something he can remedy here to start chasing the 15 back down.
Up in front of David Edwards is his teammate, the 16 of Matt Upbrook. Very quick in practice, didn't have the greatest qualifying time as marches away from that 8th position up to 6th. With his teammate, both them, the Donkey Punch Racing team there, up 2 positions. Harold Rothery is directly ahead of him, but Harold's held up the 16 so far and been able to somewhat pull a gap there the last few laps.
Well, while those guys back there have been dicing it up, the lead here has gotten pretty interesting, with Chris Roll able to reel these two in, and now Stephen Carey getting stuck on the inside. Anthony Gaudio able to pass him back for the lead just a lap ago. And now it looks like Stephen Carey going to try to jump up in front of the 14, not quite clear. Ooh, that was almost a big shakeup for our front 3.
Oh man, heads up maneuver there from the 14 to get his car woed up, because that could have easily ended in disaster for those 2 drivers. Let's Gaudio get a somewhat of a gap here. We'll see if Smirol can get past this 83 without losing too much time to that 3 directly ahead, because if this thing stays green, you do not want to lose time here. It's going to be tough. Oh, and there, look, as I say, as this thing stays green, we get our first or Nissan Central caution of the night. And we'll have to see exactly what went down. Oh, and they're still wrecking. It's the 77 of Jake Cachet and Robert Fitzpatrick Sr.
Have to see if there's anything prior. It looks like the last couple laps beforehand were pretty clean between the two, but the 48 just really overdriving the entry to turn 1, and Plow runs over the 77 of Jake Cachet there.
Yeah, it's nothing really the 77 could do there. The 48, just like you said, too deep into the corner. The 77 was just there along for the ride, and just a heavy collision for both those cars, as they'll definitely be having to take those to pit road to work on those for an extensive amount of time there, Brandon.
Well, the good news for Jake Cachet is it's mostly left rear damage on the 77. The nose is still relatively clean. Going to be able to get that fixed up very easily. A little bit more right front damage, obviously, from the contact with the 48. So Bob Fitzpatrick Sr. gonna have a significant more time, bit of time on pit road to get it fixed, but it should buff out pretty nicely. And we talk about it all the time, how durable these ARCA machines are.
Sorry about that. Gotta turn the race chat off because I could not hear nothing. My ears were blaring. The PA system here is pretty loud here at the Iowa Speedway.
I'll tell you, Zach, yesterday for the broadcast, I had to do the sponsor reads to start the show on Mondays as usual, and I forgot that I have my driver chat turned way up from something we were listening to over the weekend, and I could barely concentrate on it.
It's very hard when you got someone talking extremely loud in your ear, and they even get a thought in, and yeah, I know exactly how you feel there. So sorry I didn't hear a word you said there, Brandon. So I didn't want to be making anything up, and I was like, well, I just didn't hear you.
No, it's fine. Just, talking about damage and durability and ARCA cars and buffing paint out and, all the good stuff.
All the good stuff, yes. As we're under that first caution, looks like nobody electing to really do the pit strategy here, and I think that's a very wise move for a lot of these guys. I think you need to at least get halfway before you burn a set of tires. At least then, if you get a caution in that last half of the race, then you can decide if you want to use that next set.
Well, I'm going to go back and look at the pit stop here. Stephen Carey hit pit road. I don't know if it was to fix some type of damage. His car looked pretty clean, but he had a 10-second pit stop. He took right side tires, it looked like.
Interesting call. I don't know if I'd burn a set of right sides here this early. Maybe left sides, but burning those right sides 20 laps in, that's kind of a risky call in my opinion.
Yeah, with the tire set limit that we have we've had for quite a while now on iRacing. It's kind of thrown unless it's near the very end of the race. The two-tire strategy's out the window because it's essentially wasting a set of tires. You know, left sides are nice, but the ones that you lean on, the ones you rely on during a race to get your pace are those right sides. And slapping a set on pretty early on into the race, it's only going to be quicker for a little bit of time before it evens out, and it's just more often than not worth it to just slap on a set of right sides instead of just taking all four.
Now you hit the nail on the head there, Brandon, because it has taken that strategy out personally. Like you said, unless it's the very end, there's really nothing that you can gain from. I mean, I guess Kerry, if we get a few more laps here and the guys do decide to pit at 40, he can put left sides on. Then his right sides are going to be hurt when he puts his left sides on, and that's just going to create an unbalanced race car from there, and it just spirals from there, in my opinion. I think it's a good late race strategy still, but this early, two tires, and especially right sides, I think is a huge risk.
Absolutely. If you're in a situation late in a race, say with 10 or less to go, and you're 6th, 7th back in line, and you're trying to make passes on pit road at a track that it's pretty difficult to pass, that is the strategy there, where you're wanting to take the two tires just to jump those guys on pit road and see if you can hold them off. It's more often than not still not going to be outright faster. It's going to help your handling. Maybe if your car's feeling a little bit tight at the end on fresh tires, for fresh tires, just slap on the two, turn a little bit better. But with, that's something else we're going to have to watch with Stephen Carey is how bad is this going to hurt his balance? We've already seen how rough it is for these guys on 4 fresh tires, how loose it is. 2 tires is going to make that a lot worse.
Only going to make it worse. Pace car's in. We're back green flag racing. Gaudio with a good start, but look at Rothman on the outside in that 4. He's gained the most out of it. He's trying to get up to second as the 14 of Smerol drives to the bottom through the bumps. Can he get the drive off? Looks like the 4 Rothman has a good run down the back straightaway, dead even for that second place position as Gaudio tries to stretch his legs on this field on lap 23.
Well, looking at it already, I can see that Rothry trying to shadow what Gaudio is doing in the 4. But he's not slowing down the car quite as much as the 3 is in the center, allowing him to really get that drive off without washing up on the exit of the corner. And you can see now he's losing just a little bit of time, allowing the pass for Chris Smerol here to take over second. Now fighting back again on the outside, trying to make it stick. And then while these guys are all battling, Justin Malarkey, slowly reeling them in from behind in the 4th position.
Yeah, Malarkey there, he's lurking in there in that 4th position there. He started from that 2nd position, got the lead early. It's kind of what he did last week too, Brandon. He kind of lurked. He got the lead, slipped back and lurked for a little bit, and then got the lead back again in the long run. He was so quick on the long run. So we'll see if that translates maybe again to here tonight to his style. But Upbrook now up to the top 5 with David Edwards in 6th. So we got a lot of heavy hitters up front.
And you see him switching up lanes. Before that last caution, it looked like Matt Upbrook was really favoring the high side this time, trying to stick the low side through 1 and 2, back to the high side 3 and 4. And it was also something I noticed during the last run that I was going to comment on, is it looked like Matt Upbrook was really being aggressive into the corners. I saw him a number of times going into turn 3, just sailing it in, sliding all the way up to the wall, and then riding around the wall until the exit of the corner. Doesn't look to be that aggressive this time around. Now might even be holding up his teammate David Edwards.
Well, he's got the battle up ahead of us right on the back deck lid of the 4 Rothman. You can see the battle between the 2 Donkey Punch teammates there on the high side. Upbrook now sliding behind there, David Edwards. But it looks like Malarkey able to pass for 3rd as Rothman is back to 4th now, as he'll have the 2 Donkey Punch teammates directly behind him.
Well, looking back through here now, Stephen Carey has made some inroads now to the inside of David Edwards to take over that 6th position. But he's been very careful about how he's been maneuvering. His speed is not that much faster, really, than everybody else on the track. It's just that center speed difference you can see now through 1 and 2, catching up with Matt Upbrook and Rothery. Was able to roll up onto them through the center of the corner very, very well. And that's what the advantage is going to be, trying to make use of it before everything starts to even out and plateau. But, oh, Rothery gets into him.
Oh, big collision. That's going to send Edwards and Upbrook, though, spinning. Man, oh man, the 4 in the 83 getting involved there in this wreck on lap 30 to bring our second caution of the night. Unclear exactly what happened there, but
It looked like
man, oh man.
Harold Rothery trying to carry a lot of speed on the outside on the exit of 4. Too much wheel into it. Car got a little bit loose as he was correcting it, got down into the 83, and that just hooked the 16 when the 83 came back across. Great job, David Edwards, being able to avoid his teammate. Caught the grass, almost spun out as well, but kept it out of the fence. Just hurt the tires a little bit for the 15, but definitely biggest loser. They're going to be Stephen Carey on that strategy, putting down the essentially at this point wasting that set of tires now and getting a damaged race car out of it.
Man, how things change here, as you can see on the Freaky Fast replay. 16 just catching the worst by just getting clipped, sliding across the track, and here comes his teammate David Edwards. They just a little smooch. They're on the right front of the 16 and the right front of that number 15. Man, oh man. Could have been worse for those drivers. Here's Edwards. Oh, does he lock it up and get out of that wall? And yes, doesn't hit nothing. Great job by him to navigate there. But yeah, Rothery in the 83 carry. Carry's definitely messed up in damaged car, and now those tires that he used definitely hurt.
Yeah, that went from bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. To man, what's he gonna do now? I mean, he's still, riding around, but it's gonna be hurt for sure. I didn't see exactly how much he slid after the initial contact. Maybe just kept it up against the wall. But man, that's the exact thing you don't want to have happen when you try a strategy like this.
Well, it looks like we had a lot of other drivers come down pit road from the rear of the field. And, a lot of those guys did get tires there, Brandon.
Looks like James Wright in the 8 gonna be the only one of them to not take tires, not even right sides for the 8. So gonna be a bit off pace here. Now the biggest worry is gonna be, Anthony Gaudio and Chris Morrell at the front. Oldest tires by far in the field. How do these guys get by them? You do not want to get run over here. So I'm interested to see how this is going to work out for them, and especially Stephen Carey in third, staying out with this damage here, just trying to hope that this still pays off for him. He's going to have more speed than the 2 guys ahead, but everybody behind him is just going to be lights out faster.
Well, I'll tell you what, the guys who pitted there, if it goes green, they make it to the end here on these tires.
Yeah, this will take them, I believe, to the very end with the tank of fuel. Yep. And if it goes green, not the position you want to be in if you are Anthony Gaudio or Chris Morrell. Stephen Carey should still be short on fuel as well, but considering the speed that they have with the clean cars, being this far out of sequence with the rest of the field, you've got to hope that something happens here where you can kind of reset yourself.
New caution so far brought to you by Oro Nissan Central. Man, it's definitely a risky call there. It could go either way. If we get a few more cautions, it plays out well for the guys who have yet to take tires. If we do not get no more cautions, the drivers who pitted, it's going to slide right into their hands, and they're going to be some happy campers.
Oh, and it works out if we get one, but again, we say it all the time. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you have to rely on a yellow.
And thank you everybody for tuning in here tonight to Freaky Fast Broadcasting here for the ARCA Evolution Series. Make sure if you haven't, hit that subscription button, that like button, as we're trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of 2021. And if you can be one of those 1,000 subs, we would really appreciate it. So thank you again for tuning in as always. Make sure you hit that like button or hit the dislike button so we can get, criticism. We take criticism here, and we can only get better with people's help. So we thank you fans out there for enjoying the show. And it looks like the pace car lights are out, and we're about to get ready to go back green flag racing, Brandon.
Yeah, and again, see Michelle Baylor out there. GT now popping in the chat. Gonna be riding around in the Cup Series here just before too long after this race. And also Robin Davis out there in chat, so thank you guys. And also, if you hit that dislike, don't just hit the dislike and leave. Let us know why you dislike the video so we can fix whatever you happen to not like.
That is a great point there, Brandon. Way to back me up there, man.
Yeah.
We're the B team. It's all right. Pace car pulls in this time. And there it is, green flag in the air. Gaudio off and away. Great restart from him again in the 3, but it lets the 14 slide up into the second position. The battle for third looks like Carey side by side with Rasic in the 2 as they go through 1 and 2.
Stephen Rasic, one of those guys that put on the 4 tires, now charging to the front, able to get around Stephen Carey here. Not quite just yet. Stephen Carey hanging in tough on the inside lane with those 2 tires. The leader's looking to check out a little bit and hope these guys burn up their tires a good bit before they can get to him. Just behind Rasic now. It's going to be Justin Malarkey trying to find his way around Stephen Carey. Also David Edwards, after being able to save that car during the last incident, now to the inside of Malarkey.
Oh, this is an interesting battle because, you know, Edwards on them new tires. It goes green here. It falls into his hands.
It really does, and that's kind of the mentality you have to have. You're racing the 2 guys in the lead right now, just on position, but realistically, you're only racing the 273 and everybody else that's on your tire strategy. You've got to be the first one of those cars in line, so when everything cycles around, then you get the most benefit out of it. And, you know, try not to get too focused on getting up here and leading the race. With these tires, you're going to get to the lead. Don't try to get there too soon.
As you can see, he has worked his way forward, and looks like some connection issues there for him as we'll have to change cameras as he does slide up into third there for David Edwards in the 50. The battle up front with Smirol and Gaudio continues. Those 2 on the older tires doing a great job. But all these caution laps letting those tires cool back down to pretty much brand new status. It's going to take a few laps before we really see the wear on those tires become a factor again.
Yeah, looking at it now, last time by a pretty much identical laps for our 2 leaders, where David Edwards was 0.2 quicker. And at a lot of other tracks, you know, 0.2 is a significant amount per lap as David Edwards now makes the pass over Chris Smirol. But at a short track, 0.2 per lap is huge on the track. And you see now finally catching up and making these passes on the leaders to the inside. Looking to the inside of Anthony Gaudio here. Not quite going to get there. Should be able to have this pass done in the next lap, though. So 15 going to be our new leader before too long.
Now, another reason this strategy works out really good too, Brandon, if these guys like Anthony Gaudio and Smirol take it to a point where they have to pit, you know, they're going to have to pit and they're going to go laps down. If a caution comes out, you're trapping them down there. And another thing is that means these guys are going to have to stretch it long too if they're going to pit. So it really puts them in a bad position because they pit early, they're definitely going to lap down. And even if they get back on the lead lap, they're going to lose their track position.
That's exactly right. It's just put them in a huge disadvantage, really, even if they're able to cycle back around, you know, with a caution flag to get back on the lead lap. They're giving up all their track position at the same time. So, you know, if you get a caution and they're both trapped to lap down, only one of them is going to be back on the lead lap with this lucky dog, assuming nobody else goes a lap down. So you're trapping really one of the 2 fastest guys on the racetrack up to this point in the race a lap down, and then the other guy is still going to have to restart from the back of the field.
You can already see Edwards has stretched the gap out as we ride on board with Smirol. He's all over the back of Gaudio as those 2 sliding back each lap as Upbrook's got past him now. Malarkey passed him. Next is going to be the 98 of Brian Fine.
Playing off pretty well for the 98 here. One of those guys we talked about that's just kind of coming alive here in the late goings of the season, playing the strategy, trying to gain some good track position and jump a few guys that were a bit faster just on outright pace on even tires here. Now to the inside of Anthony Gaudio to make that pass. Have to look at the lap times this time by to see where Brian Fine stacks up with that of David Edwards. Now across the line, the laps come in. Brian Fine with a 24.99 to David Edwards 24.6. Might be just due to the fact he was pinched underneath those 2 cars, not able to utilize his whole entire line. using all of the racetrack that he would like to. But now up to 4th, these fresh tires starting to slowly gap everybody on the older tires.
Yeah, staying out is looking like more and more of a worse strategy for these guys as they slide back here on lap 47. Now, if they can get a caution before they have to pit for fuel, they can save themselves. They'll still have 2 sets of tires, and these other guys, if it goes that long, will have to take their final set.
And that's really the only way that this works out in the best case scenario for the 3 and the 14. That is the one lifeline that they have, is that they get that caution right before they have to make the pit stops, force everybody else's hand taking their very last set where they're still on their first set, and then they got to hope that it goes another 10-15 laps and they can come in and take theirs. But it gets to a certain point where even on the older tires, they were able to hold on and keep pretty good pace. And their tires are much older than what they're going to be facing if that strategy plays out for them. And giving up too much track position with not enough laps left, they may not be able to make it to the front.
It's all about time. Is our producer looking at the 9 car. He is transfixed on the Reese's number 9, Jeff Carson. He's working his way forward. He's got Richard Gonzalez in the 6 and the 2 older tire cars of the 14 of Smirol and Anthony Gaudio.
I can just hear Robert drooling in the background. It's suddenly more humid.
I feel that too. That's kind of worrying me. We need a pay raise, Brandon.
Yeah.
Good joke from our producer. You guys didn't hear. As Carson slides his way past the 2 older tires of the 3 and the 14, he's up to the 6th position now in that 9 machine.
Jeff Carson, he's another one of those guys that is known for playing the tire strategy and getting pretty good results out of it here. And again, you know, after making that jump to running the Cup Series, just seemed like it fit him a little bit better than what the ARCA cars had. A lot more consistent speed, but he's shown pretty good speed here at Iowa, up to the 6th position now. A good way back from the guys ahead of him on this strategy, but you know, long run comes to it. I believe we might see Jeff Carson slowly start to reel these guys in before the end of the race.
Yo, I'll tell you what, up to the 5th position now for him. So he's struggling along pretty good there. He's got Justin Hendry who's riding on board with him up next, as he's about 2.9 seconds back from our leader David Edwards in that 15 machine. He's got about a second lead over Justin Malarkey. Right now, it's looking like it might go into that long run phase. You know, Gaudio and Smirol are thinking, oh no. Think of this too, Brandon. These are our 2 top guys probably looking to be favorites for the championship. And right now, if they have a bad race tonight here, they're both not. I mean, Smirol entered tonight as the points leader with 23 points up to the good, but Gaudio only 11 points to the good. If he slides back too many positions, he could be in jeopardy at Daytona next week.
Well, talking about it, they've already made their pit stop, decided, man, this is probably not going to work out for us. Only 1 lap down right now, but Chris Smirol going to be the one to cycle ahead, actually undercut Gaudio by a lap to make his pit stop. And then Stephen Carey and Jake Shea followed Gaudio down pit road. Now you see about half a straightaway between the 14 and the 3 fighting for that lucky dog position with their fresher tires here. But again, if they have a bad race like you talked about, that's got to give a lot of the rest of the field a lot of hope that, man, these guys might get knocked out next week if they get caught up in a pretty big wreck and finish toward the back of the field. I'm going to have to look exactly what the points difference is between the cutoff and where Chris Smirol is, but for sure Anthony Gaudio a lot closer to that cutoff, about midway from the front to that cutoff. So Gaudio, I think of the 2 of them, really is the one that cannot afford to have a disastrous race here.
Yeah. Only 11 points, so not a lot of breathing room, and 23 for Smirol. So that could all change tonight, and then you have another bad run at Daytona. You could be looking on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I mean, you go from winning a whole bunch of races in the regular season to just having 2 very ill-timed races back-to-back and find yourself knocked out in a heartbeat. And that's just kind of what the knockout rounds of the playoffs bring you. It's nice winning you're in, and you lock yourself in. Justin Malarkey, nothing to worry about, but that's really, these guys not in that position, and especially now getting cycled to the where they are, being lapped down under green flag conditions, and it looks like the field getting pretty spread out. Not going to be hope for much of a caution without somebody self-spinning. They've got to be really sweating at this point.
Yeah, this has definitely changed the whole complexion of this race. As you can see, the 94 Steve Potter there, he's running the 8th position, about 8 seconds back from the leader David Edwards in that 94 machine. Now, I tell you what, Smerol, he's a good bit ahead of Gaudia, but he is still almost half a track behind from getting even back to on the lead lap. So it's a long distance for him and only 21 to go. Definitely not going to be able to catch up and make anything out of that, but man, maybe a top 10 effort if he can catch James Wright. From there, I don't know if he can catch anybody else.
Well, looking at it, times on the track, he's about a second quicker every lap. Chris Smerol is over our leader, David Edwards, but at 24 seconds a lap, and we've got now less than 20 laps to go, he may be able to unlap himself, but he's definitely not catching back up to try to contend for the lead. He needs that caution, but he needs it either. He's in the best scenario for it to happen right now. Anthony Gaudio desperately going to be trying to catch Chris Smerol and put himself in that lucky dog position so that they get the caution. They're the ones that get their lap back, and then they can use that fresh set of tires and charge back through. But right now, it's not looking good for either of them. Not really seeing any close calls on the track whatsoever.
Yeah, all drivers are spread out right now. As Brian Fine, he's coming up and through in that 98. As you can see, here's a little bit of a battle of Upbrook. He's got Carson, who's just got past Hendry for 4th, and Carson again, a classic scene from this number 9 machine. He just drives forward at the end of these runs, Brandon.
Again, like I said, towards the end of the race, when you get into that long run, the tire wears are really starting to affect a lot of guys. Jeff Carson, he's been really consistent and not quite going to get clear as the 16 of Matt Upbrook here. Should be able to make this pass within the next lap. He's rolling the bottoms so well right now, just keeping it really planted, being very patient with when he's getting back to the throttle, as opposed to somebody like, Matt Upbrook I talked about had a bad habit of wanting to overdrive the entry to the corner and gain a lot on the entries, was giving up center and exits.
You see the 9, he should clear this time in 3 and 4 as he slides up off of turn 4. Yes, he does. Jeff Carson pulls low, lets the 16 get back to the outside, but he should be clear here on the entry of 1. And that's going to be Carson up into the 3rd position. Not sure if he'll be able to run down those top guys as he's 4 seconds back with 16 to go. But I can tell you what's happening is Malarkey, our winner from last week, he's trying to go back-to-back and not let nobody get locked in and feel safe next week.
That's the best position he can possibly be in, and make sure that nobody else is going to be assured a place next week. Make everybody nervous going into Daytona and feel like they have to have a good race to make it to the next round. And he's got the pace to do it. He's a 10th quicker, a little under a 10th quicker than David Edwards right now. Just trying different lines. You see Edwards sticking to the bottom in 3 and 4, where Malarkey was really rolling the top. It's going to help him get the run and close in that gap a little bit on the straightaways, but you got to wonder what it's doing to his tires, how hard he's pushing. What's he going to be able to do when he catches David Edwards?
That is the $1 million question in racing, dude. I mean, when you get there, it's almost like it's completely different. I mean, you can see Edwards trying to take the line away. These cars not as aero sensitive as the other stock cars, but still aero. I mean, look there. He gets behind that 15, cannot turn that wheel and exit, gets a little bit loose from that even.
It matters, but like you said, not nearly as much as we will see in the Cup cars here before too long. And that's going to be a whole another monster in itself that these guys are going to have to race with. But with how much off-throttle time, and really, it's up to the driver to make the speed in these cars, you can get away with running in the dirty air a lot more, and there's a lot more things that you can do as a driver to kind of mitigate the effects that it's going to have on your car. And you see here, Malarkey's running different lines, keeping a little bit more clean air on the nose of his car, trying to generate a run here after losing a good bit of time now to David Edwards, but it's still about half a second. Last time by, he was a 10th slower than David Edwards. Have to see what it is this time as they come across the line, get the times read in here, and David Edwards 2/10 quicker.
We'll have our laps displayed here on our leaderboard, so you can see these guys last time by last lap, and that'll give you a good comparison of how fast drivers are compared to each other right now. But yeah, I know Malarkey's trying new stuff, but it's not working in 1 and 2. He needs to go back to the bottom. Um, but he's kind of running more of an upper groove there. You see Edwards, he waits till late into the corner to turn down, and that makes you miss the bumps. There's some really bad bumps there on the entry. If you can get past those bumps, then turn down to that bottom and get the grip to roll it, you really get a good acceleration straight exit. But 3 and 4, a little more cut and dry. But 1 and 2, man, it's a finicky corner where you really have just a few options at your advantage to do. And Malarkey trying different things. Again, goes up to the 3rd lane. Lots of bumps up there. Maybe a little too high.
Yeah, turn 1 especially, there's some bumps right there on the bottom of the entry to turn 1. They'll mess with the car if you hit them wrong, but if you go too wide into turn 1, there are some major bumps. You might feel like you're out here on a BMX bike for how big those bumps are, and they really make the car unhappy. And there's just that sweet spot right in the middle of the track that if you hit it perfect, it's going to set you up for a beautiful corner. And David Edwards looks like he's found those bumps and figured out where he needs to run, able to pull out a decent bit of a gap here. But looking back, I think the guy that needs the caution the most right now is going to be Jeff Carson. He's matching lap times with David Edwards right now.
Yeah, he's definitely looking good right now, but man, he seems like his pace comes from the long run. So if you get a caution now, it's going to be a short run. So that 9, that is what he possesses, in my opinion. He's just got that just consistent long run pace. 3/10 faster on leaders last time by. So he's just consistently very quick. And I tell you what, Malarkey, he gets close, about 3/10 within, and then he loses time that next lap. And I think that air behind that car is actually affecting him pretty bad.
Well, as we're watching that battle, going to point out a number of drivers have gone a lap down now. So Chris Roll, he's going to be able to get by James Wright, finally able to run him back down and put himself back into the lucky dog position. But now Steven Racing is on pit road. Going to be another car going a lap down that Squirrel's going to have to contend with. Should be able to pass him while he's on pit road, though. But it's dangerous moments for these guys if they get a caution to be kept out of that lucky dog position. The good news is everybody should probably be pitting for the last set of tires. However, that's going to make them come out on older tires and at the back of the field.
Yeah, at this point, looking where Squirrel and Gaudio are on the racetrack. Unsure if Squirrel won it. Yeah, these guys are not going to unlap themselves with 4 laps to go. So it is a unfortunate strategy call for them, even if the caution does come out.
Well, you live by the strategy and you die by the strategy, unfortunately. I know we've all been on this the bad end of a strategy like this, where you just don't expect everybody to come down. You expect them to go a little bit longer and save their tires, and you get caught out with it. And unfortunately, that's exactly what's happened to the 14 and the 3 here in Iowa. Not in the worst spot. I mean, their track position realistically not all that bad. Chris Roll a little bit better off than Gaudio. Gaudio now battling with Stephen Carey, trying to gain just that 1 extra position, and then they've got James Wright just ahead of them. So that's going to be another position for Gaudio. But definitely not ideal considering the pace they had earlier in this race.
With 2 to go, David Edwards, he's got control. This 4/10 there behind him is Malarkey. He has a chance. It's just Edwards is going to have to make a mistake at this point for Malarkey to get a good chance.
Well, washed up the track just a little bit there. See if Malarkey's able to gain any time. Does not look like it. Looked like Edwards able to get a really good run out of the corner, and I just don't think it's going to happen.
Sheffield Graphics white flag in the air. One final time for David Edwards as he navigates down the back straightaway, opening up that gap to the 73. He came in here this season, led the points most of the regular season. Now exits Iowa as locked in to round number 2. David Edwards is your Sheffield Graphics race winner here tonight at the ARCA Evolution Series.
Well, Justin Malarkey able to hold on to second. Couldn't quite play spoiler. Jeff Carson, though, able to secure that 3rd place finish with his late run speed.
Yeah, another solid run there from Carson, man. I mean, 2nd last week, 3rd this week. I think the 9 is going to be happy with how his first 2 races in the playoffs went.
Absolutely. And again, update, Chris Merle, 9th place, able to get the lucky dog position, but did not get the caution that he needed. And then Anthony Gaudio missing out on the top 10. Stephen Carey able to prevail over him to take that 10th position.
Lots of strategies transpiring here, but look at David Edwards celebrating on the front straightaway as your Sheffield Graphics race winner here tonight. We'll be back in a few moments, everyone, as we get our post-race interviews. All right, we're back here, everybody, for your post-race interviews. First up, we got our third place man, Jeff Carson, in this 9 machine, one of our playoff drivers. Hey, Jeff, it's Zach up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I got you.
Hey, man, well, I'll tell you what, another fantastic run, getting another top 3 for yourself here in the second race in the playoffs, man. How's that feel to have 2 great runs to start off your playoffs with Daytona especially coming up?
I'm happy I got another good top 3 because I think if anything bad happens next week at Daytona, I should be able to make it to the next round.
Yeah, definitely oh, sorry about that, Jeff. You go ahead.
No, I'll just say by points, so hopefully I can make it.
Yeah, definitely a good points gain for you tonight. You know, definitely put yourself in a good position going into Daytona next week. You know, what is the mindset going into there now? Is it going to be mostly survival and just get what you can and not really have to shoot for too many points next week?
Well, the first part of the race, I'm just going to be survival mode. But I think at the end, I'm just going to go push it and see what I can get out of it.
Yeah, and tonight too, man, you definitely you had the long run speed once again, Jeff. You know, how was the long runs faring for you in the 9 machine? Because it seems like, again, consistently, that's your part of the run.
Yeah, definitely long runs are my run, and unfortunately, I always get hurt by the cautions that come out. The first caution, I started gaining ground, and then I think it was like lap 10 or something, that first caution, and then I just went in and topped off, and then the second caution at lap 30, I just made the decision, this is going to be my last pit stop, unless a caution comes out, which is like lap 70 or something, and just run it to the end, see where I finish.
Well, man, that played out to be the right strategy, and it worked out very well for yourself in the 9 machine, driving through the field there late in the going to pull off a 3rd place finish, man. So congrats on that, Jeff. Before we let you go, though, man, to get ready for the Cup race tonight, anybody want to send a shout out to?
You guys are putting on an awesome broadcast. You guys do an awesome job. The league, all the admins for putting this together. I enjoy this week in and week out. My teammates, Anthony and Errol, it didn't work out for him tonight. Just bad decision there. But we try something different. And my new sponsor for this race, Reese's.
Our producer love that. Definitely get a lot of airtime here if you're running the candy car for our producer, man. But congrats on Thursday night, Jeff. Good luck in the cup race, and hopefully we talk to you that later, man.
All right, see you.
All right, everybody. That was Jeff Carson, your third place man here tonight. Let's go ahead and pull up our second place finisher, Justin Malarkey. The driver already locked into the next round and last week's winner from Chicagoland. Another fantastic run for the 73. Let's hear from him. Hey, Justin, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Hey, Zach, how you doing?
Doing fantastic, Justin, man. What another great run for yourself, man. After getting the win last week at Chicagoland and locking yourself into the next round, you came out here tonight and showed again that you are a contender each week for a win, man. Just explain to us how good it's got to feel to come out of here with another top 3 finish with the win last week, and now a second here in the second race. The playoffs got to be feeling great so far.
Yeah, playoffs feel great. Hope I'm not using up all the luck right here in round 1. But this track's fun. I thought I was going to catch him there for a while, around lap 25 to go. I felt really good running the outside, and then it just kind of went away, and then he'd pull away, I'd gain, he'd pull away, and we kind of just both got stuck like a rubber band.
Yeah, that's definitely what we've seen there too. It seems like you ran him down there, got close at some points, and then it just could get close, but then couldn't get there all the way, like you said, with the rubber band effect. We were kind of questioning, we see more with the Cup car in the RSR Cup Series, the arrow effect comes into it when you catch somebody. But do you feel like this was more down the tires, or did you feel a little bit of arrow from these ARCA cars?
I try not to run behind him too many times, but yes, our cars were just pretty much equal, and we just couldn't get apart anymore at the end. Maybe a little bit of arrow, but anytime I saw him get to the bottom, I tried to go to the top, and then if he ran the middle, I tried to get to the bottom, and then the few times we ran the same line, that is when I actually felt the best. But maybe it was just because I was able to judge off of him better.
Yeah, definitely an interesting racetrack out here tonight, man. But I tell you what, you did a fantastic job once again in the 73 to be able to bring home your second place finish tonight, man. Congrats on that, Justin. Before we let you go, anybody else to shout out to, man?
Yeah, all these the 3 teammates. Matt couldn't make it tonight, unfortunately, but Jake always puts these awesome paint schemes together for us lately, and Chris helps get the car dialed in too with Jake, and we figure out the fuel strategy. They got on a little bit of different cycle there, but if cautions came out, they would have been in better position. So definitely got to keep that in mind, because he was strong tonight too.
Definitely had some strong teammates out there tonight, man. You were on the right strategy, so congrats on that. And we'll catch you next week at Daytona, where you can have a pretty stress-free race, buddy.
Yeah, definitely.
You have a great night, Justin.
Thanks. See you guys.
All right, that was Justin Malarkey, your winner from last week, bringing home second tonight. Now we'll move on to our Sheffield Graphics race winner and Chick-fil-A, bringing it home in victory lane tonight in the Chick-fil-A. You gotta love it in the 15. Maybe he'll bring some chicken sandwiches for us up here. I'd be pretty happy with that. But, love to see, maybe. Hey, David and Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
10-4, I got you, Zach.
Well, I tell you what, buddy, congrats on locking yourself into the next round of the playoffs, man. You can go into Daytona next week with no pressure on your side. How's that got to feel, man? Because locking yourself in with Daytona coming up has got to feel great.
Oh, 100%. That's a big relief. I wasn't expecting a win tonight. I just wanted a good points tonight to pad it, just to make sure we were good through Daytona, because Daytona is the wild card. But to be locked in just makes it that much easier.
That it definitely does, man. I tell you what, definitely an interesting way this played out for you tonight. Getting caught up there in the wreck, to bring out the last caution of the race, really. Using that to come down pit road, narrowly escaping damage, coming down pit road, getting their tires, and then going from the end there. Man, were you kind of surprised that less people didn't pit on lap 30 there, since you guys could make it? I mean, it kind of fell into your hands there, didn't it?
Yeah, first off, I don't know how I made it through there. Missing the cars, and then about walled it after I got past all the crap. Still about put it in the wall. But with pitting there, I made my bed. I wasn't, even if had I not got into it or wonder if I had damage, I probably wouldn't have pitted either. But just the uncertainty factor, and it just played out. Like you said, if
if there would have been another caution, you know, in that 10 or 15 lap segment between that caution and their running out of fuel, would have been done for. Our strategy would have been shot, but it just somehow played into our hands.
That it definitely did, man. It played right into your hands tonight. You held off a fast 73 car to be able to pull off the victory here tonight, man. So going into Daytona next week, you're locked in. Now does your focus shift to your teammate Matt Oprah, getting him in a good position for next week?
Yeah. I want to try to get Matt in a good spot and get Richard as well. I think we picked him up on the team halfway through, so focus is going to try to be on them guys, getting them in positions to, advance on to the second round.
Very good point there, David, man. But congrats on the victory here tonight, man. Getting another victory in your bag this season, so congrats for that, man. And you'll be able to go into Daytona next week with a lot less stress on your shoulders going into that, man. So congrats on that. But before we let you go, anybody wants to shout out to you, man?
First and foremost, my wife, and let me do this every Tuesday. SJR, Donkey Punch Racing, all the guys there putting in the work this week. We put in a couple practice sessions to figure out what we can do, how we can get better. To Matt for painting off some schemes this week. It was a chicken award this week, so we switched it up from candy to chicken. But just you guys for putting this on and giving us somewhere for family and friends to watch us on Tuesday nights, and let's take it on the Daytona and see what we can do there.
I'll tell you what, man, I love the Chick-fil-A car. It looked great out there, so congrats on the victory, buddy. And we'll see you out at Daytona next week.
Where you guys have a good one.
You too, man. All right, guys, that was David Edwards in the 15 Machine Year Sheffield Graphics race winner here tonight at the Iowa Speedway. Race win 3 of the season for him. It's his second win in less than a month, I'd say. So definitely on a roll there for that 15 after a very consistent regular season. But here is our race results here tonight from the Iowa Speedway. David Edwards bringing home that first position. Second's going to go to Justin Malarkey, our other driver, locked into the next round. Those two on to round 2, while the rest of the 14 drivers in these 16 spots fight on. Third's going to go to Jeff Carson. Fourth's going to be the 28, Justin Hendry. Fifth's going to be Matt Upbrook. Sixth's going to be Stephen Potter. Seventh is Richard Gonzalez. Eighth, Brian Fine. Ninth is Christopher Smerroll. 10th's going to be Stephen Carey. 11th, Anthony Gaudio. 12th's going to be James Wright. 13th, Bob Fitzpatrick Sr. 14th is going to be Stephen Rasick. 15th, Jake Ashay. And rounding out your field in the 16th position is Hale Rothery, as that is your race results here tonight from the Iowa Speedway. Well, Brandon, what a race we just seen here, man. I think this leads up to something we're going to see in the Cup race now, too. So what can we expect to transfer over from there? And then next week at Daytona, who needs to have the best run?
Well, I think if you are, Chris Smerroll, he's got to be feeling pretty good. Came into today leading the points, but now after having this bad race, he had a bit of a cushion to lean on, but you've got to still be nervous going into Daytona. The same with Anthony Gaudio. A little bit of help. There were some guys not making the race that are going to really make it difficult to fall outside of the cutoff line here at Daytona, even with some incidents or having a bad race. So there's a little bit of breathing room for them, but definitely not safe by any means. And I think some stuff we're going to have to pay attention to in the Cup Series is the balance of the cars is going to be a bit different. They're going to be a little bit more planted, see exactly which lanes are going to be preferred or dominant, and how those cars are going to start changing over the course of the run. Tire saving, absolutely going to be critical, and see some guys maybe risk a set of tires, try to get some stage points.
We will have to see, my friend. We will have to see. So make sure you tune into that later, everybody, at 9:20 Eastern here live on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We will have the RSR Cup Series as they take on their second race of the round of 16 in their playoffs, as Hunter Hayward was able to lock himself into the round of 12 at last week at Chicagoland, as we move on to Iowa here tonight. So make sure you tune into that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in here tonight. It's been a pleasure, but let's send it up to our producer, Robert Warner Jr., to close out tonight's broadcast.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for calling great action. Thank you to the Evolution Racing League and the ARCA Series drivers and all the fans that come out and watch these guys here every Tuesday night here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But like Zach said and Brandon said, we're going to pack up our stuff right now. We're going to go get something to drink and wait for these cup cars to come out at 9:20 Eastern. So please make sure you stop by again and root on your favorite driver, or just come out and chat with us three out on YouTube land, and hopefully everybody enjoys the show. But if not, have a great Tuesday, and we'll catch you hopefully at 9:20. Until then, we want to say God bless everybody. We love you all. Peace out.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.